Thank you. I know it.
Well, I don't know, we kind of gave them to Lisa.
this already. It's water. It's dry. At this time, I'd like to call to order the Human Services Committee. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If the clerk could take the roll, please.
Commissioner Angie,
Present.
Commissioner Torello,
Present.
Commissioner Samasco,
Present.
Commissioner Zeller,
Present.
Commissioner Rushing.
Here.
Commissioner Vandenbosch.
Here.
Commissioner Beeden.
Present. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda?
Make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Thank you. Support? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have quite a few citizens that wish to be heard this evening. So what I'll do is I'll call the first person and then tell you who's up next, so that you can get ready. I'm not sure if there's anyone in the overflow room, but hopefully that gives them time to come upstairs if they are. So the first one tonight is Vance Richardson. The topic is solar. On deck will be Sandra Richardson.
Vance Richardson, Fort Gratiot. I came here several years ago, it seems, when I first got notice of the solar coming to Fort Gratiot. A letter in the mail, didn't even say they were having a hearing. It was a hearing. With hundreds and hundreds of residents that I talked to, perhaps 1,000. Very, very few would even consider this solar. I saw it on Facebook, a little blip of it, a little whatever reel. And I thought, it was Shiawassee, of course. I thought it's got to be a joke. I drove over there, spent a couple hours. It wasn't a joke. It was devastation. The noise, the ugliness. I can't imagine anybody living near this. So I'm supporting against the solar. I think Dr. Nevin hit the nail on the head by telling you what a nuisance, what a health problem it is. Neighbor down the road's had a heart attack over it. Oh yeah, right behind his home, they're chopping down trees, cutting them down so they could put in a solar field. Across from the house he grew up in, born in, solar fields. The neighbor across the road, elderly, somewhat like me, if you may, going to be surrounded by these things when you look out the window. It isn't in the master plan of Fort Gratiot or in your townships. It's a nuisance. It's not harmonious. And as you've heard from many of the citizens, it is a cancer in your society. It's a cancer in your county, and it's spreading. And I said this would spread. I support and I thank you for your support in standing up against this, trying to put some type of regulation to it, trying to put some type of control over this cancer. It hasn't gone away, and it won't. But I appreciate the support of the board up here that support us. Thank you.
Sandra Richardson, followed by Jill Bartow.
Sandra Richardson, Fort Gratiot. I want to thank the board as well for supporting our community and deciding that this wasn't appropriate for where they've chosen to put these solar projects. If you can imagine that my bedroom window, my master bedroom window, reaches to those doors over there, and that's all I'll see out my master bedroom window, my dining room, and my living room. Now, when you can imagine any one of you or any one of you out here could even live like that after living in your residence for 40 years, raising your kids on a farm so they could go to 4-H and live a beautiful life on a farm. And I would like to speak to the health issues because as we've done our own research and we've asked people to do research, We've had medical professionals in here at these meetings that can attest to people that are already having problems with these solar projects. So it's not a light issue to consider. And when I think about being born in Fort Gratiot and in this community, and I think about how they could devastate this small community with this huge project. I mean, I grew up thinking about the Great Lakes and how lucky I was to go down to the lakes and swim. This project is within walking distance of our Great Lakes. And it used to be like 5 miles, they couldn't have one. And when they decided to go forward with these, they reduced that before they shoved it down our throat to 2.5 miles. Now, why is that? Because none of this poison that they're going to stir up that has drainage ditches running right into our Great Lakes it's going to affect everyone here in St. Clair County, not just Fort Gratiot or Clyde Township. So I highly suggest you look into that and think about all the medical professionals, not just on these boards or health advisory boards that have come here and spoke at these meetings and indicated there already is a problem. Thank you.
Jill Bartow, followed by Diane Hewlett.
Good evening. Thank you for letting us come and speak tonight. I'm here to literally beg you to appeal to Judge West's ruling regarding the solar regulations. This has no place in our area. If we live in an industrial nightmare, please help to ensure that we at least have a workable regulation to prevent these companies that only think about the bottom line, the green. That's the only green thing about it. We don't need this surrounding our properties. My mom and sister and I lived together. We moved here from Georgia, bought a nice home in the country with a nice cornfield across the road, thinking that was where we were going to retire. And probably a year later, we find out that there's solar leases right there in our neighborhood. Nobody told us. People were trying to get out before anything started showing up. So all of this is sneaky, sleazy. All they care about is the money. You guys care about us. Thank you for trying so hard for us, and I would really appreciate it if you keep trying. Thank you so much.
Diane Hewlett, followed by Kathy Swantek.
Hi, I'm Diane Hewlett from Riley. My area of disgust starts with, for those of you in the know, I'm going to start in the middle of Ms. Commissioner Angie's story. I hope I'm not taking your limelight, but so she took her innocent 12-year-old daughter to get a physical to play sports. Her daughter was met with adult content addressed in teen-like appeal. One of the handouts on the counter was a reference to a disgusting, the shot, it's just a little prick. It's like being immune to sperm. This is a 12-year-old. Once they've heard these vile, in-your-face details, their innocence is gone forever. The real crime here of all of this is that you have taken away the one thing a child cannot get back, and that's their innocence. Once again, Ms. King, I know you're here. I believe I saw you. I'm going to call you out again. As your saga lingers, you continue to be controversial, it seems, by choice. Who authorized such material? We are left to assume it is you, yet it seems higher-ups are dictating your every move. As we get deeper into your reign of terror, we find deception everywhere. You had to have known that this content was being spewed to young, vulnerable minds. To this I say, shame on you. If you were unaware of this material, I repeat, shame on you. You have been exposed. To all of your supporters who thought, we did this to her? No. She is solely to blame. Not only did she do this to herself, but I feel She enlisted all of your help. I believe she has manipulated them into following her into skewed facts. And if the supporters do not agree with that, which I'm sure you won't, then I would ask, did you know about this content? Do you accept this as appropriate content? If not, then you have been used. This administration's convinced them that we are all the evil ones and spreading misinformation. Now you can understand one of the minor reasons why we've been supporting Dr. Nevin's removal of the programs. Another reason is to bring the health department into compliance. Has she ever discussed this with your followers? I'm guessing not. I strongly request that U.S. commissioners stop this insanity today. Shut it down. Thank you very much.
Kathy Swantek, followed by Carolyn Richards.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Kathy Swantek. I live in St. Clair County, District 5. I am gravely concerned about shuttering teen centers, cutting vaccine recommendations, and axing the health officer. All three endanger the health and well-being of our community, especially the most vulnerable amongst us, the poor, the elderly, and children. For rural kids in unstable family environments whose parents are unable to provide sometimes even the most basic care, our rural teen centers are critical. Traveling to Port Huron to get the basics, the vaccines, lab test screening, help when they're sick or injured is a huge hurdle. We have some of the highest poverty rates in our county. Lynn Township has a poverty rate of 15.2%, Musey Township 13%, Berlin Township 31.8%, and Emmett is 20.8%. All stats from Southeastern Michigan Council of Governments. It can't all be about the money. A $180,000 grant was forfeited for the Yale Teen Center and was lost due to lack of concern, neglect, indifference, apathy, pick a word. Any one of those apply. It doesn't make sense. Michigan is experiencing a rise in COVID-19 cases. 1 in 4 Michiganders are vaccinated against it, yet Dr. Nevin is recommending fewer vaccines. That certainly is not going to help our state out or our county. Stats show COVID vaccines work. In St. Clair County, the rate of deaths in 2021 was 472. There were only 5 last year. Stats show vaccines work. Why fiddle with it? Dr. Nevins touts he's following CDC guidelines. Yet the public is losing trust in that one benchmark of medical research and excellence. The Trump administration has crippled the agency, cutting its funding in half and demanding changes that endanger public health and eviscerate research to prevent future epidemics. Still, RFK Jr. is revered as a medical expert to be much more trusted than highly educated medical experts. All this at a time we are experiencing the largest measles outbreak in 33 years. My objections to Dr. Nevin as sole department officer includes his recommendations on the above issues. But it is also critically important to not grant all power to one entity. It's called common sense, protecting the people and holding our government, our elected officials accountable. That's what democracy looks like. I hope you think deeply before you make such critical decisions that affect many, especially our most vulnerable. Thank you.
Carolyn Richards, followed by Kevin Watkins.
Hello, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. The unfortunate yet enlightening experience that Commissioner Angie and her daughter experienced a couple weeks ago at the teen clinic was disturbing yet not surprising. I want to bring to everyone's attention that those same questions that Commissioner Angie's daughter was asked are the same questions that are included in a school survey given to 6th grade students in the Port Huron School District. It is the same type of content that will be embedded in the school curriculum because of what the Michigan Department of Education passed as the new health standards. It has already been present in children's books, available to every student in many school libraries. Now, sexuality of all types, gender identity, and gender inclusion will also be embedded across every subject and made mandatory for graduation without parents' consent, unless parents, grandparents, and hopefully school boards and teachers with morals stop it at the local levels. The innocence of children is no longer being protected. It's being challenged, reshaped, and literally stolen from them. It is being done by the very people that they are supposed to trust other than their parents, medical providers, teachers, administrators. As people of faith, we believe children are a gift of God. We are supposed to nurture, protect, and guide our children in truth according to Scripture, but not burden them with the adult confusion or political ideology before they are ready. These radical ideas are introduced to our children at younger ages, crossing boundaries that they should never be crossed. Instead of focusing on academics, schools are increasingly used to promote these social agendas that blur God-given truth and undermine the role of parents. Conversations about sexuality that belong first and foremost in the home are being presented to children who are still learning who they are and how the world works. I believe that parents are the primary stewards of their children's hearts and minds. Innocence is not something to be rushed away, but something to be guarded. Childhood should be a time of growth, curiosity, and innocence, not confusion or pressure to adopt labels before they even understand who they are. The former medical director stated, Commissioner Angie should be happy for the soft prompts so she can talk to her daughter about sex. This material was not soft prompts. It was hardcore, instilling confusion, ideologies, and pornographic material that was not age appropriate on those websites that were available. Our children are worth fighting for. Their innocence is worth defending. Schools should remain places of learning, not grounds to indoctrinate on these radical ideologies. So check with your school boards on the curriculum they will adopt. And just a question, I'm not sure if there are protest signs that are supposed to be allowed out in the hallway, but there are. Thank you and God bless.
Kevin Watkins, followed by Libby Prill. Kevin Watkins, followed by Libby Prill.
It's titled Kevin Watkins, NAACP. Okay, commissioners, on notice. There comes a moment in every community when silence becomes complacency. What we are witnessing from our medical director, Dr. Nevin, in the direction he is taking the St. Clair County Health Department is not progress, nor is it reform. What we are witnessing is a quiet, bureaucratic form of disenfranchisement, some that targets the most vulnerable under the language of administration. This attempt to close, dismantle, or remove local control of our teen health clinic in Port Huron High School is not neutral policy. This is a direct threat to assess dignity and mental health for students who rely on these spaces for safe haven, for them a place of trust, confidentiality, and care in a time of uncertainty. This clinic has been more than a medical site. It has been a refuge. To take it away, to tell students, especially those marginalized ones, that their stability is optional, that their mental health and physical health is negotiable. We reject this. History teaches us that injustice rarely announces itself loudly. It often arrives in the form of reconstruction in our ways, but it's not there to help those. We recognize the outcome, and we would not prefer anything to happen here in Port Huron. This is a moment when Port Huron becomes our Montgomery, not with chaos, not with violence, but with organized discipline. We will organize, we will mobilize, we will show up to meetings, we will demand transparency, we will protect our children. This is not radical, this is responsible leadership with systems forget people that they are meant to serve. The NACP Port Huron branch stands with the students, the families, and the community. We're calling on pastors, their families, our educators, and those who stand with the community to stop this nonsense. Do not close our Port Huron Clinic.
Libby Prill, followed by Joe Crowley.
Good evening. Excuse me. I was appalled by Commissioner Angie's experience. There can be no excuses made by our health director, and the community is owed straight answers to the who, what, when, where, why, and how this happened. I do not want the KHIC grant anywhere in this county. Childhood should be a time when young people are encouraged to focus on knowledge, citizenship, and positive character development, but the KHIC grant is focused on labels and complex issues that are more geared toward adult relationships. Child innocence has been breached, and once it is breached, it cannot be restored. We are robbing children of the innocence before they are ready, and we have too many people who roll their eyes at that statement, devoid of any deep understanding of its importance. The important label that children should wear is child or teen. Doing my research, I found that scientists do not fully understand gender identity development, but the KHIC grant encourages questions, themes, formation of student clubs, etc., that attempt to guide vulnerable students through controversial and confusing issues by minimally trained staff. Current research suggests that gender and sexual identity likely involves biology, prenatal development, hormones, personality, environment, and social experiences like school. We can't bubble wrap our kids, nor should we, but parents are rightly concerned that the push by KHIC to address gender identity and sexual orientation goes beyond inclusion and crosses into personal ideological territory that is the right and the responsibility of the home. Some young people have difficult home situations. I agree that these children in these situations need trusted adults that they can turn to, so I absolutely support having safeguards in place for at-risk children, school counselors, psychologists, specifically trained and effective community mental health staff and programs, and faith-based counseling if the student or the family wants it. The State of Michigan KHIC grant oversteps and usurps the right of parents to determine the timeline for their child's sexual emotional growth. It ignores the individual values in the home in favor of a state-determined single value that is in conflict with the privately held values of many Michigan families. I encourage the county to stand firm in rejecting all KHIC programs. My grandchildren are worth far more than $180,000. Thank you.
Joe Crowley, followed by David Huffman.
Hello, thank you. I'm Joe Crowley from St. Clair, and I'm not a public speaker, but I'm here to beg you to keep the teen clinics. There were 3. They should be continued. When I raised 4 children in this county, and we spent a lot of our time without health insurance for various reasons. But we needed that, and there are plenty of people that need that. And just because y'all have health insurance, I have it now too. I'm on Medicare. It's wonderful. I've had it for several years, but before Medicare too. But so many people don't have health care, and to cut the one outlet where people can go and get decently priced health care is, to me, it's a crime. I think people should go to jail for it. It's cruel. It's I don't know how you can sleep with yourselves. It's unconscionable. Mr. Zeller, I'm looking at you because you're my representative. I don't know how to get a hold of you to say this on the side. I did know how to get a hold of your predecessor, Jeff Bohm, and I could speak with him. But, you know, this idea that maybe somebody's offended by what was said or presented, our children, well, my children are all adults, my grandchildren are getting this stuff. My oldest grandchild is 7. There's so much out there that they see sexually. By the time they see something that's responsible, I see no problem with that. If I don't like what my kids are being presented with, I discuss it with them. I hope somebody that runs into that with the health department does the same thing. But again, I say it's unconscionable to continue to close these things down. Thanks.
David Huffman, followed by Jean Mackey. Okay?
Good evening, Board. Pastor David Hoffman, Fort Gratiot. I'd like to pray this evening, something we haven't done yet. Dear Lord, we come before you today to seek guidance and wisdom for the members of the Board of Commissioners. Grant them clarity in their decision-making, strength in their leadership, and compassion in their service to the community. May they work together in unity, fostering an environment of collaboration and respect. Illuminate their minds with issues at hand and help them to prioritize the well-being of those they serve. Instill in them a sense of justice, integrity, and accountability, so they may lead with courage and humility. Bless their discussions with productive outcomes, and may their actions reflect a commitment to the greater good. Let them be instruments of positive change, fostering growth and harmony in our community. Amen. I would just like to add an addendum on to that. I've been to several meetings, and there have been, well, less than cordiality, if I could put it that way, at some of the meetings. So I'd like to take a moment to express my gratitude to the Board of Commissioners for their dedication and passion that each of you brings to these meetings, as well as your professionalism. It's your commitment that drives our efforts forward and contributes greatly to the success of our community. Likewise, it can be said with most of the public who attend these meetings or are actively involved that they may want to express their attitudes toward this board. However, I must gently remind the gallery that our time together in these meetings is a privilege and opportunity for collaboration. Respectful communication is paramount, not only among us, but also toward the guests and the stakeholders. When we listen attentively and value each other's contributions, we can create an environment that fosters creativity and respect. So together, in a spirit of mutual respect and support, we can grow our community as a team. Thank you.
Jean Mackey, followed by Jim Frank. McKay.
Okay, I am questioning the reasoning for eliminating the Yale and CAPAC student clinics, and now I'm hearing Port Huron. Today I did a little research. I was curious about some statistics, health statistics in the county. And through the Michigan Profile for Healthy Youth, I learned that 40% 40.7% of our teens have reported feeling depressed and hopeless in the past year. Hopeless. I've been there. 19% of our youth have reported seriously thinking about suicide. 17 to 24% of our high school children vape. Teenagers are at a time in their life when they participate in risky behaviors. I'm sure there are people here, including me, who took part in risky behaviors as teens that we would not want our children to engage in. With these statistics, why does our health department want to close the health clinics, especially ones that serve our teens in the outlying areas, and refuse the grant that would contribute to their operation? And when some of our tax dollars are being returned in this way to the county through the grant. Concerning the health advisor position, my knowledge of eliminating positions, and this is more about finances than the position. I don't know that much about what this position entails, but I'm thinking of it from a financial standpoint. And that most positions, when they're eliminated, are due to budget issues in many cases. St. Clair County is now funding this position with its current budget and is comfortable turning down grants. I'm not hearing that it is a budget issue. So why is this happening? Eliminating a position also results in higher workloads for those remaining and creates stress. And we're talking about health. Stress is a big contributor to poor health. We'd also lose a well-paid position, which is a loss to the county because this county is neither very prosperous nor educated. We don't want to lose those kinds of things. And we don't want to lose a position that pays a good income.
Need to wrap it up, please.
Okay.
You need to-
Okay, thanks.
Everybody gets 3 minutes. Thank you.
Jim Frank, followed by Sandra Tannehill.
Good evening. Thank you for your service and listening to me this evening. One of the things that I've been hearing tonight is that choice is a big issue on either side of any of these particular issues that we're talking about, whether it's citing solar farms or whether it's vaccines or whether it's fluoride in our water. We find ourselves sort of at a crossroads here. The evidence that solar fields are dangerous is being debated, and choice is one of those things that is really important in our society as well, especially the freedom to choose. And it's a belief in our nation that has been denied for centuries to people like women and entire classes of people. And I'd like to say that we need to be careful because we're talking about the innocence of children, but we're also putting children at risk if we follow through on some of the decisions that the medical director of our county would like to implement. And I think that if we think back to the fact that this board and a majority of this board split the position into the two positions that are occupied by Liz King and Dr. Nevin, and now wants to potentially reunite them into the same position, demonstrates that this really is more about politics than it is about actual issues concerning public health in St. Clair County. I begrudgingly entertain that we must balance this claim to freedom of choice with other interests in society. A nation founded on the belief of a social contract that requires that we give up some of our freedom to secure it for others means that we must consider whether choice about vaccines doesn't infringe upon the choice of others. What we're talking about is a public health issue. If people get sick and infect others, that infringes on their freedoms as well. However, I'm willing to debate choice, all the same, because there are some limitations to the freedom of choice, as are certain public health decisions. However, this is the actual case. There is no doubt about the efficacy of vaccines. They have been proven by study after study after study to be effective. And it is moreover not true that there are people in St. Clair County, because you're all intelligent human beings, you know that some vaccines do not last your entire life. For instance, if you get rabies and you get vaccinated against rabies, that's not going to protect you your entire life. You know that if you get a tetanus vaccine, that tetanus vaccine is not going to protect you your whole life. You know that if you get a measles vaccine, you're going to have to get revaccinated. And if you get a COVID vaccine...
You need to wrap it up, please.
That's been 3 minutes?
Yes, it has.
Nevertheless.
You're on a roll.
I was, thank you, David. Anyway, thank you very much for your time.
Sandra Tannehill, followed by Mary Lou Kramer. Not yet, no.
I'm here as a concerned parent and for the parents that don't know what's happening, but also I'm a wife with a husband that wants someone held responsible. These are our kids. I told you all in November I was ecstatic to hear the clinics in Yale were closed. My husband disagreed with me at the time. I validated some of this with a nurse practitioner last August at Yale, which we're discussing, but it's worse than what I thought. I share with my husband the article in Bedsider containing suggestions of bondage, sexual asphyxiations, threesomes, foursomes, suggestions to finding anonymous and the casual partners on Craigslist contained in the article, fuck it, let's have all of our New Year's resolutions be about sex this year. My daughter is 13. Under all of these places, inspiration, it's under the inspiration tab, pages full of similar articles. Their site states it's for ages 18 and older. At a responsible medical facility, patient literature and questions are thoroughly reviewed and implemented before approval. It's hard to believe that didn't happen with pics of condoms and vaginal rings on cards for display for kids as young as 10 to see. Yes, this junk is on the internet that our kids have access to, but out of the thousands of options, this is what the health department chose for our kids. Bedsider is not a gentle prompt to educate your child or teen as suggested by the online coalition group, some of their members sitting here today. There's a big difference between healthcare professionals teaching our adolescents about responsible sex and consequences versus promoting being promiscuous, irresponsible, and putting these kids in danger. I spoke at the Yale board meeting in December. The superintendent and chair, along with the rest of the board, stated they were against this radical ideology and reassured me it wouldn't be in the school. Thank you, Commissioner Angie. I realized after your presentation that most people didn't realize the extent of this. I felt like I was living with this burden alone, even debating with my husband as he says kids from bad homes need a safe place. He's beyond disgusted now. Incompetence doesn't even describe what we're feeling about the individuals involved. Our county health officer was unaware that's just as bad as, if not worse. Individuals in charge aren't doing their job to protect our kids. Scrambling to throw away these cards as teen guidance isn't enough. This pure defiance in the health department can't continue to keep happening. There's a clear lack of ethical obligation and concerns for our kids. Someone needs to be held accountable.
Mary Lou Kramer. Mary Lou Kramer, followed by Eileen Tesh.
Good evening. Thank you for my time. I'm here to say I support Liz King's continued employment, and I ask to remove Dr. Remington Nevin from his current position for the following reasons. When public health officials or agencies disparage or question the safety and efficacy of vaccines, as Dr. Nevin does, and continues to make his platform well known It creates dangerous systemic problems. Immunization is a cornerstone of global public health, which is what we're talking about here. An infrastructure acting as a preventative shield that reduces disease, limits strain on healthcare systems, and maintains community health. When trusted authorities undermine this, it directly fuels the vaccine hesitancy, leading it to lower vaccine rates and to the resurgence of diseases previously thought brought under control, such as the measles. The current outbreak of the flu could be related to the director's messaging. Disparaging vaccines breaks public trust, which is difficult to rebuild, as seen with the promotion of the misinformation on official platforms. This rhetoric causes confusion, makes people hesitant to get vaccinated, and can lead to unnecessary suffering and mortality from preventable infections. It also erodes the herd immunity necessary to protect the most vulnerable, including children and the immunized compromised. Finally, I'd like to say, I'm strictly opposed to closing that clinic at PH. I stood before the Advisory Board of Health and told them how ecstatic I was when that clinic came to that school, because I remembered what it was like for kids when I was in high school, and we had nowhere to go. And girls who didn't have a mom they could go to had nowhere to go, okay? And so I think, and I have sat in Port Huron High, and I have sat in classrooms and seen kids go in and out of that clinic, and it is highly used for various health concerns. So I ask you, please, do not throw that clinic away, because it's targeting an age group that needs it. Thank you.
Eileen Tesh, followed by Cynthia Bankston.
Good evening. I want to talk about the teen clinic. In 1999, I was 39 years old. I was an attorney living alone in Florida. No husband, no children, no family. I was burned out, stressed out, depressed, and had no passion or purpose in my life. But by divine intervention, I went to Mass one Sunday, and my life turned upside down in a way that only God can do. The priest started talking about praying for our U.S. Supreme Court justices, and as an attorney, I said, oh, I know them. Are they sick? And he continued, we need to pray that they uphold the ban on partial birth abortion. Then the priest described this barbaric procedure where the baby is murdered while it is partially delivered. I could not believe what I was hearing, but that is what it took to wake me up from my self-absorbed quandary and get me into the battle to stop the murdering of these precious little babies and help pregnant young women to choose life. I started at volunteering at the pregnancy center, counseling, protesting, whatever I could do to let these little ones' voices be heard. If I had been in Commissioner Angie's shoes and saw those materials at the Port Huron Teen Clinic, especially the ones for abortion referrals, I can assure you it would not have been a pretty scene. I may have even ended up in jail. There are no excuses for child abuse and child grooming, and that is exactly what those perverted sexual materials are. In my legal experience, parents would lose custody and parenting time if they expose their children to this kind of rot, and they may even be arrested and charged criminally. Any and all employees from the health department who fail to protect these students need to be terminated, starting with Health Director Liz King and Head of Nursing Amy Bishop. They cannot be trusted, and they must be held accountable. Thank you.
Cynthia Bankston, followed by Rochelle Bonelli.
Hello, Cynthia Bankston, St. Clair County, Port Huron. I'm here tonight to express my concern regarding Dr. Nevin's memorandum regarding immunizations. I believe Dr. Nevin, who has decided to align himself with the Secretary of Health and Human Services, is helping to create an environment of doubt regarding vaccine safety that may result in fewer children being immunized for once commonly occurring illnesses such as measles, mumps, and chickenpox. This doubt means fewer children and adults in the general population will have the herd immunity to protect all of us, most especially our babies and our elderly from diseases that previously had been eradicated. I worry that a move away from encouraging vaccines and instilling doubt in the general public about them will open the door for insurers not to pay for them, resulting in even fewer vaccines administered each year. I worry about the snowball effect of not getting immunized. You need only pay attention to what is happening in South Carolina to understand the value of vaccines. According to WYFF in Greenville, health officers are reporting that 876 individuals have had the measles, with 354 people in quarantine and 22 in isolation. The majority of those cases, 800, are in unvaccinated people. You all should note that measles have been 100% eradicated in the U.S. by the year 2000, and that it can result in deadly complications. I beg you not to give Dr. Nevin any more authority to cast doubt regarding proven prevention and send him packing out of St. Clair County. And I remind you, there was a time when people trusted science, understood that it's ever-changing, and accepted some things we do for the greater good. I thank you for your time.
Rochelle Benelli, followed by Vicki Blackburn.
Hi, my name is Rochelle Benelli, and I reside in St. Clair. Thank you for listening to me tonight. I would like to give my opinion regarding the combining of the two positions at the Health Department. Distinguishing between the individuals and the positions that they hold is fundamental to good organizational design. Good personnel management means that the positions should be designed according to the needs of the organization rather than based on persons holding those positions. The commissioners should operate to these standards rather than basing their decisions on personality or individual ideology. It was determined a while ago that too much control sat in one position if they were combined. Most counties don't do this because it's difficult to find a single person that is qualified to perform both duties. If they're combined, and in the future, when a person will leave, then we'll be in a position where we can't find somebody qualified to hold that position, and then we'll have to separate out the positions again. Regarding the recent experience of Commissioner Angie, I understand the concerns around the sex information and the absolute need for age appropriateness. I would submit that both the health officer and the medical director would have shared responsibility for the recent experience. Wasn't one of the medical director's issues with closing the school-based health clinics that he wanted to ensure his oversight, implying he needed to be on site, otherwise the satellite clinics wouldn't run? I would assume that he would have been on site in Port Huron. I'm not sure if somebody could explain that to me. Also, can't we make changes to the way things are run rather than just close them down? I'm sure there's a middle ground. I have heard the commissioners say that they represent the community regarding public health, but do they? I doubt very much that the majority of the constituents would agree that fluoride should be removed from drinking water if they were surveyed. But they're not asked. The health department and the commissioners and the health advisory board are making recommendations and decisions based on what seems to me like radical fringe personal ideology, and declaring that they represent, which is likely a more moderate middle majority who are not aware of what's going on. But good public health should not be based on popularity, but widely accepted science and medicine, not radical fringe theories. If public health policies and regulations are based on popularity, we would not have seatbelt laws and smoking bans, which were not popular, but also save lives. Additionally, I would like to speak to fiscal responsibility. We have lost a court suit, and I would like to know how much that costs for the solar fields. We're going to probably appeal. How much is that going to cost? And DTE has deep pockets. We're going to defend on the violation of the state guidance regarding vaccines, and the medical director indicated we'll likely end up in court over that. We've given back a grant for the health teen clinics, and so I'm just understanding, when folks talk about fiscal responsibility, I'm not sure how that lines up.
You need to wrap it up, please.
Okay, one thing I wanted to say is I was shocked at the video where 3 commissioners voted against 4-H.
Wrap it up, please.
Really?
Everybody
4-H?
gets 3 minutes.
Vicki Blackburn, followed by Dorothy Yope.
Hey, good evening. I was not going to speak because there were people prior to me that did a fantastic job with the points I would have made. But I do want to go on record one more time, standing with the children of Port Huron School District, that every one of them deserves to be loved, deserves support, deserves resources, deserves to have their health clinics stay open. I still maintain, as with the last meeting, that the due process did not happen, and I think that that was an error that could have been fixed, and I was hoping it would have been fixed between the last meeting and tonight, but instead it seems like the anecdotal information has snowballed and spread all over Facebook probably. So again, I would say that, in my opinion, Commissioner, who I respect, could have, because she was in the room with the child, could have immediately said, this isn't something I'm comfortable with, reached out to the health officer and gotten to the bottom of it. I wouldn't wait one more day. I wouldn't go home and do a whole AV presentation with the kind of material that you are presenting that's salacious in nature, and I would want to address that. I'm actually very conservative myself. And the other thing is, in terms of the health officer, in the time that she's been here, she has never initiated a conversation with me, ever. She has always been professional. If anything, I could have opened the door for her to say something negative about our medical director, and she never has. She always takes the high road, takes the middle ground, says, look at it this way, to help bring me back to center. I appreciate her for that. I think that going to her with any kind of a concern like that is just the appropriate thing to do, especially as a commissioner who's over her position, and especially as a lawyer. I hope we get a chance to talk. I'm very uncomfortable with the salacious nature of materials that are constantly being brought up as a way to divert attention from the $180,000 that we wanted to talk about that were forfeited, and now the solar money that is also on the table evidently in terms of an appeal. And it just seems like our money is being used pretty frivolously, and I don't think that the children in Port Huron schools are served by the opinions of people downriver who think that their children are worth more than $180,000. Well, it's not your children. Those children were in Yale, these children are in Port Huron, and I do appreciate your time.
Dorothy Yope, followed by Angela Dufresne.
Good evening, Board of Commissioners. I am Dorothy Yope, and I do have the advantage that most of you have seen my resume. And you know that I am a licensed professional counselor that works with middle school and high school students in Macomb County. I would like to address the statements made by Commissioner Angie that I read about in the paper, and then I went on to review the Board of Commissioners video. And I want to start to say that I'm very sorry that you had such a terrible experience, and that certainly the literature was more than problematic. Now, that being said, I would like to address your concerns about the questions regarding gender identity and sexual orientation. What you shared is what good parents do. You took this opportunity for you to discuss with your daughter your family values on the topic. What is very important here is that we do not take these questions out of the intake process at any of the St. Clair County clinics. The question accomplishes several things. First, it identifies the teen clinic as a safe space for LGBTQ+ youth. And why is that important? We know from many research studies, including this 2024 survey, that 37% of the youth that identified as LGBTQ stated they have seriously considered suicide in the past year. 42% of transgender and non-binary youth said the same. 11% of the LGBTQ youth in the same survey had attempted. 14% of the transgender youth had done the same. This information was presented to me just this past Friday at a Macomb Intermediate School District Professional Development. So the gender and sexual orientation question raises staff's awareness so that they can assess the individual's mental health. In other words, these questions save lives. Similarly, your daughter was probably asked if she was sexually active. Again, your daughter's response was, no way. But a different youth might answer yes, again, giving staff an opportunity to provide information that could improve their health and safety. It was interesting that you mentioned Santa Claus, because when I was working as a middle school counselor for 8 years, I would tell my friends and family that one of the hardest parts of my job was that some 7th and 8th graders still believed in Santa, and some 7th and 8th graders were experimenting with drugs, sex, and other high-risk behaviors. Again, commissioners, it is so very important that decisions are made at the health department that focus on the health and safety of citizens and not individual family values or misleading bias research. It is our opportunity as parents to teach our children our family values.
You need to wrap it up, please.
And as a governing body to protect the health and safety of all citizens. Thank you.
Angela Dufresne, followed by Tracy Burgee.
Angela Dufresne, Fort Gratiot, thank you for allowing us a chance to speak. I am a resident that will be directly impacted by the solar project in Fort Gratiot. I'm also one of the first people that came and asked for the board's help. I appreciate everything that this board has done to try to protect the health and safety of this entire county, because a project of this size will impact the entire county. I really would appreciate if you guys would appeal. I was there in court on Monday, and I kind of feel like that's where it needs to go. I'm sure you guys will read the order in full, but, you know, people all across the state are fighting for this because these projects do cause environmental and health impacts to where they are put. I also had something else I wanted to talk about. I think I can tackle both of them with this comment. The community adolescent health centers and Commissioner Angie's experience. I, for one, do not want to see my taxpayer dollars going to putting this type of information in front of children at this age. I don't agree with it. I'm a little concerned with the thought out there in the community that the teen health centers are for people that don't have health care. That's not what they're about. It's supposed to be about public health. I understand them being there to teach safe sex. I do not think they should be teaching things like gender identity. There's a lot of people that do not believe in that. There's a lot of people that do believe in it, and that's fine. You can believe in it all you want, but it shouldn't be presented to everybody. My kids are adults now, but if they were not, I would pull them out of the public school system because this is inappropriate. Somebody mentioned the suicide rates with the LGBTQ community. Has anyone ever thought about the fact that when you take a confused teenager and tell them that they may have been born in the wrong body, that might cause those types of feelings? Especially if they know people that don't agree with it. Now, I'm accepting of everybody. When you're an adult, you can do as you please, but leave our children alone. Thank you.
Tracy Burgee, followed by John Anter.
Hello, thank you for allowing me to speak. I wanted to speak about a couple things, and it appears that we all are thinking about these same things, and we are all frustrated, and we are beyond, our limits have been tested, truly tested. I took my daughter to the doctor today, and I took her into a spot in Marysville. I just went in there, and I spoke to the doctor, and we talked about what was our treatment, what was our plan, what did you think? I am frustrated when people think that primary care and public care are the same. They are not, never ever meant to be. And if you look at our state, I did a little bit of research. We do not have clinics like we have in St. Clair County that offer primary care, because it's really not primary care. The job of the health department is to come in, it's to my understanding, and, to make sure if there was an outbreak of something, that is their job to do that. But their job never, ever comes beyond a mother. My heart goes out to Commissioner Angie. There is no way. How do you fix that? And when I read this, what Dr. Mercantant had put online, and she said, well, maybe this would be a gentle reminder. I don't know about you, but when I went online to that bedsider.com, and I almost fell over. They have a Frisky Friday, but and this is what they're putting out for our children. They're putting out those brochures, and I know my kids, I know anybody's kid could find this online. I know you could, we all can find that, but I almost died when I saw it said 5 surprising, hold on here, I'm gonna make sure, I don't wanna misquote it. 5 surprising benefits of masturbation that you need to know. And I don't know about you, but I don't think in any shape or form do our children need that kind of, to me, that's nothing short of perversion, grooming, and it's disgusting to put that on our small children. That is not okay. And you know what, as a parent, we have the right to say no, and I'm gonna say no. And some of you people that feel like, oh my gosh, well, we have to protect our children. We are not protecting our children when we put this garbage out there. And then in one of the screenshots that I took, it said, can you masturbate? Is there such thing as too much masturbation? I took a deep breath in and I couldn't breathe. But yet I look at what's happening with our health advisory board, and Dr. Mercantant may not be here anymore, but she clearly is here because she's making comments. And how dare her say that this is a gentle prompt? As a mother, I would never, ever see that as a gentle prompt. Ever. Our babies deserve more than this, and I will come here every meeting to let you know that my babies mean more to me than all of this other crap that you think putting it on them. That's okay, you don't have to agree with me, but this is America, and I get to say what I want.
Need to wrap it up.
Thank you.
John Anter, followed by Susan Ingalls.
John Anter, Port Huron. Hopefully I can leave with some clarification, because I'm confused, because it wasn't that long ago we were here and you wanted to separate these, positions at the health department, and now you want to put them back together. So, were you telling the truth about the reasons then, or are you telling the truth about the reasons now? It seems like when you had somebody you didn't like, you wanted them separate. Now you have somebody you like, you want them together. When was the truth being told? I support keeping them separate. And, think about the things that you said when you wanted to separate them, and maybe use those reasons to make the decisions now. And then as far as the clinics, having more clinics seems like it's better for public health than having less clinics. So I don't really have anything much else to say, so you won't have to tell me to wrap it up, but just think about those same things when you wanted to separate them, and what changed that you want to bring the position back together now. So, thank you.
Susan Ingalls, followed by Lori Olford.
Hi all, Susan from Birchville Township. I tell you, I'd rather be at home in a comfy chair with a cup of hot chocolate and a good book to read than be here. But I care about what's happening in our county. Just like a lot of you here a few years ago cared about what was happening when COVID was around, and you had to wear masks, and schools were closed, and you couldn't find toilet paper, and you guys stood up and you said something about it, and you believed in it, and you were passionate about it, and that's a good thing. Well, I'm passionate about keeping fluoride in the water. I'm passionate about keeping vaccines, especially meningitis and chickenpox, because I had a 3-year-old son that had to have that long turn needle put in his back, and 4 guys hold him down. Nothing any parent should have to go through. And with that vaccine, meningitis vaccine, you don't have to anymore. I want to know too, why DTE, how much money they sued, and that's another thing I got involved in. When I read that DTE was suing the St. Clair County Board of Commissions and the St. Clair County Health Department because of solar. And how much money is being spent on that instead of being spent on more studies about fluoride or getting more vaccines out there. And the one last thing I want to talk about is what's up with the software our county contracts with to help with election reporting? I feel I'm falling backwards in time. When white men were always in the right and we all had to follow white man's lead, I feel like that's where I'm at right now. So let's move forward. Thank you.
Lori Olford, followed by Nanan Keeley. I hope I got that close.
Good evening. Thank you for listening to all of us tonight. My name's Lori Olford. I'm the president of the Port Huron Area School District Board of Education. I've served for 7 years. I'm also a retired school social worker and teacher and member of Holy Trinity Catholic Church. I come here tonight as a community member, not representing any of those entities. First, I need more than 3 minutes, but I know I don't get it. So I need to clarify something. The QR code, the little brochure that people could scan in the health department was aged out many, many years ago. People would scan, the kids could scan it and get connected to a health site to give them information. Technology changes, websites change, people infiltrate these things, and that was obsolete. And yes, it was the health department's responsibility to take those cards out of the teen health clinics. They were no longer being used. They were not going to the site that they were supposed to go to. And that is the responsibility of our medical director and our health department. And furthermore, there are a couple other things that came up tonight. If anyone has questions about surveys that are being done with the Port Huron Area School District or the curriculum that we use for the health department, health education, those things need to be directed to Superintendent Theo Kahulis and Assistant Superintendent Catherine Woolman. They have the truth, they have the information, the stuff that just gets sent out and oh, well, we're using that and we're using this. It needs to go directly, and the answer, they're very, very good about answering those things. Okay, now I have 1 minute. I just want to say that the majority of you here are currently siding with the medical director whose decision to close the teen health clinics is unnecessary and deeply harmful. In doing so, you're backing someone who has clearly shown his true colors by failing to recognize and respect the needs of our county's families. These clinics are not extras. They are lifelines for students in our local school district, students whose families rely on accessible school-based care. And it's not just for physical care, it is for mental health. And the kids that go in there, that wander in there, have no one to talk to, go there. And that is a huge reason why we need to continue for them to be there. Anyway, so I'll go on. The families depending on these clinics do not have the luxuries that all of us, many of us, have had with our primary care physicians, et cetera. And closing these clinics sends a
Gotta
clear
wrap it up,
message
please.
that their needs are expendable, and that is appalling. Thank you very much.
Nannon Keeley, followed by Carrie Darden.
Thank you for listening to me, and I didn't prepare a speech, but I spent a few hours this afternoon on this Bedsider app, and I just wanted to read a few facts of what kids who maybe are wandering in, who don't have a parent to go ask, what they're going to be finding on this Bedsider app, which our tax dollars, I'm assuming, are paying for, that we're worried about. So this is a nonprofit. It says it is an online birth control support network for women 18 to 29. I'm not sure why our teen clinics have that. That's what we're worried about in our clinics, okay? It's not about teaching them safe sex. This is literally talking about abortion very easily. The vaccines, everyone's welcome to get as many vaccines as you want. Every day, you can go in and get as many vaccines as you want. Many of us don't want them. So that's a problem if you think that children that maybe don't have somebody at home who's gonna maybe talk to them about vaccines, all of a sudden they're gonna have somebody trying to convince them that every vaccine is what they need, and giving them this Bedsider app. So a little bit more about that. The abortion tab talks about the pill versus the procedure. The procedure actually explains in detail, which is heartbreaking and made me cry. It details suction and tools gently empty your uterus. There's no mental after effects explained at all, anywhere, okay? But they can get anti-anxiety pills. They can get medication for anti-anxiety after that abortion. It says, quote, the painful part will only last 5 to 10 minutes. It should be virtually pain-free. It's heartbreaking to think that a child would go in with that kind of problem and not be counseled in different ways than ripping something out of their body. Maybe affecting them physically forever, mentally forever, for sure. Okay? Some of the tabs that were on this Bedsider app that are teens who don't maybe have parents at home to help them go through this. Frisky Fridays, dating and hookups, better sex, find abortion care, get birth control delivered, romance horoscopes.
You need to wrap it up, please. You got your 3 minutes.
Sorry. I just want to make everyone aware that this app is what is the problem. And having children.
Wrap it up, please.
Sorry. Our children need more guidance than an app. Thank you.
Carrie Darden. Carrie Darden, followed by Margot Romero.
Hello, Carrie Darden, and I'm from Marysville. In the wake of revelations at the last Board of Commissioners meeting, I want to tell you about my experience with the Health Department years ago. It may shed some light on what to believe about what you are told about what Commissioner Angie experienced. I spent 8 years on the Parent Advisory Committee for Sex Education in Marysville. We generally met twice a year. In 2004, a bill was proposed and passed 30-8 in the Senate, Michigan Senate, and 99-6 in the House. It was overwhelmingly supported by both parties and included new requirements to better ensure parental shaping and oversight of sex education. The bill was the result of parental complaints around the state that districts and public health were attempting to control the what and how of what has always been recognized as the domain of parents. In Marysville, ours was an abstinence-only curriculum. However, it was discovered in 2008 when I was chairing the committee, or co-chairing the committee, that the health department had been coming in for years into the school, teaching kids how to use condoms. Whatever the public might feel about the need for this is not the point here. I myself understood the need of basic interventions for kids who wouldn't wait until older, but it needed to be approved and disclosed to parents under the law. I fully respect the right of parents. In response to bringing this to light, the district asserted that they were not breaking the law. Of course not. Yet over the course of our ensuing meetings, although parents are supposed to advance their own representation, in addition to Jennifer Mihalik, our health department rep, the district introduced Dr. Mercantant, now Gilmer, Liz King, and another public health person, parent living in the district that was involved in public health. It was clear the district and the public health were working together. The district proposed we adopt new curriculum. They dumbed our responsibility to review materials down to each member getting to hold the new 3-inch binder for a few minutes during a meeting before passing it on. No real opportunity to consider how topics were addressed, which is at the heart of what the health problem is in the health center, what people are upset about. The stressing of abstinence required under law a change from high quality, challenging materials to frequently mentioning abstinence is safest without any effort to sell it. Although the need was never discussed by the committee, suddenly new bylaws were proposed. The changes effectively gave control over who could sit on the committee and therefore what it decides over to the public health and district alliance against the very intent of the law. And add like-minded parents, remove any seen as a problem. No problem. Next, removed from our curriculum was information on the hardships of becoming a teenage parent and the mention of marriage as the normative context for sex and conception. They were eliminated, or proposed to be eliminated, but they were not brought to our attention. So in answer to your question, Carrie, as to whether or not Liz King knew,
You need to wrap
I
it
say
up.
yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Margot Romero, followed by Fred Fuller.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for giving everyone a chance to speak. To many of us here on the ground, it seems like the goals of the board are not fitting with the health or fiscal soundness of the people you represent. The board squandered a $180,000 grant from the state to fund health clinics for our teens. That state grant was made up in part by St. Clair County taxpayer money. That taxpayer money is still being paid, but those funds are going to other counties now. You continue to ignore these actual life situations of many residents, claiming that there's absolutely no problem with people going to a trusted physician because you can. You suggest that people travel the distance to Port Huron Health Department from rural areas, even if they live farther out in the county. For many of them, this is a luxury. Rural clinics are really crucial and should be protected. I don't understand how turning down money from the state to educate people and help prevent drug overdoses serves any of the residents you elected. You've empowered a medical director who doesn't seem to believe in or have a basic understanding of the importance of encouraging vaccines to preserve herd immunity. Again, measles were completely eradicated 25 years ago, and now thanks to this anti-vaccine propaganda, it's running rampant. Dr. Nevin has said out loud that the direction he's taking St. Clair County Health Department will inevitably result in more lawsuits against the county. How much are these lawsuits going to cost our taxpayers? I ask you sincerely, how is any of this fiscally responsible or actually meeting the real health needs of all St. Clair County residents? Thank you for your time.
Fred Fuller, followed by Sherry Mercurio.
Good evening. I was going to say some of the same things that she said. But I also want to say that there have been a lot of things said tonight that aren't true. And one of them, since I'm from Yale, I know that the Yale superintendent and the school board wrote letters asking the board to keep the clinics going in Yale. So it's not true that they were in any way supportive of ending those clinics. I think that it really shows that Dr. Nevin is not concerned about public health when he thinks that his policies should be based on public opinion. That's not the function of a public health director or a medical director, for that matter, in the health department. The focus should be on using science, the best science, to try to protect the health of people in the county. And I think that's what the majority of the people in this county want. And I don't think they want someone like Dr. Nevin, who's out for just his personal agenda. It's clear to me after reading his memorandums and seeing him in person that that's what he wants to do. He wants to advance a certain political agenda, and he wants our county to pay for it. He's literally invited lawsuits, more lawsuits, upon the county for challenging the Michigan Department of Health, and who knows what else. I see many lawsuits coming against the county if we follow Dr. Nevin's lead. And the taxpayers are going to have to pay for his personal agenda and his advancement. He wants to use our county and move beyond this county to push his personal agenda. And I hope that you're not going to support him for total control of our health department. Thank you.
Sherry Mercurio, followed by Jarrett Chapman.
I'm going to apologize. Someday I'll get to actually make a statement based on what I wrote down, but it got changed tonight, so I apologize if this is rambling. I appreciated what the pastor said earlier about working together as a community. This is a place to come together and work on things that are going to be better for all of us. In that vein, I want to just read a quick quote. And I can't tell you who this is from, so it's all over the internet, but Jesus' harshest words in the gospel were never spoken towards those who were too loving or too compassionate. They were spoken towards those who used their religion as a tool of oppression and self-serving power. Christianity was never meant to be about enforcing moral purity at the expense of our neighbors. It's about seeing every human being, every single one, as a bearer of God's image, deserving of dignity, protection, and care. I sympathize a lot with what happened. I'm not going to get into the specifics of that. I'm going to tell you what my experience with what happened, what you did was, you started your presentation with, this is not a comment on anyone's lifestyle. And then later you told us that the first thing that devastated you was that your 12-year-old was asked if she was homosexual, and you were teary, and it was so upsetting to you. I guess I wonder why that is more important than what you just did by doing that to someone who is homosexual. How is that more important? How is it more important than what my child feels by what you said? My child, I wouldn't want my child in this room. It's hateful in here. When the other lady was up here saying that those questions are asked for a reason. They're asked so that those providers can provide children that answer yes to that question of their own volition. I promise you, nobody is telling their child to be gay. If you were a parent of a gay child, you'd know that's true, because it ain't fun. And it ain't fun because of this. I love my child. I love her for who she is. She was a teenager when she told me she was gay. A young teenager. And you can't even speak the word for what she is. So I ask you what you think that's doing to people. When the lady said that about the questions are asked for a reason, somebody behind me said, who cares? Who cares? That's what they said. I care. A lot of people care and love people who are gay. Get over it. You don't have, your child's not gonna catch it.
You need to wrap it
It's
up,
an
please.
okay question to ask someone. They could say no.
Wrap it up, please. Stop.
Be better. All of you,
Everybody
be
gets
better.
3 minutes.
This room should be for everybody.
Jarrett Chapman, followed by Trace Smith.
Good evening. Gratitude for this time to speak. These are brief words from a young conscious observer. I simply want people to feel loved in this life. I know at times I'm not always going to be right. In my heart and gut, I'm guided by light, which fortifies the mind. This warmth I can hold is why we fight. Not here for me, I'm here for the community. I'm here for the neighbors, I'm here for the strangers. You claim to be pillars of truth with talking points of fiscal responsibility. From my peers' words, we have heard that your actions spell hypocrisy. Do you believe we are fools and obtuse? I am a human being with eyes and ears to use as tools. All of us born in this world with the power to feel and heal. I ask, where do those human emotions go as we grow? Our mind is matter, generating a loving soul. As leaders, where is your empathy? Do you not care for the vulnerable, the ones in need, misguided and blind to what it truly takes to lead? Once again, I move to my fellow human beings and our true occupation, which is the community. To strip away resources in healthcare from the youth and our bright and ambitious teens, cruelty typically you only witness in a bad dream. This today is our daily reality. I look in some of your eyes today and the shoe fits. Lastly, with my words, I leave you all with this. The hypocrisy, the cognitive dissonance is rampant in this nation. I ask, what is a circumcision? A faith that claims born in his perfect image. My fellow human, I feel for you. As infants, you had no say on your body being defaced. How is one not the same? Some of you on this board are not leaders. You are not here to serve your communities. You are followers. Can argue, cowards, taking marching orders from the top down, enacting poor policy from an administration led by a felon, conman, pedophile.
Trace Smith.
So as a pastor, I just want to give you just a different perspective because we're taught to look beyond the questions and the answers because we know the age of deference is really over, right? And I'm not really interested in what the people are saying that's actually speaking at the mic. I'm interested in the people that are quiet and look like they're plotting and planning. Anybody remember the movie A Time to Kill where Samuel L. Jackson was playing Carl Lee Haley? He stands in a courthouse, the hallway just waiting, not running, not hiding, not screaming, just waiting. And waiting for two men who destroyed his child. Waiting inside the very building where it's supposed to represent justice, waiting inside the system where it's supposed to protect his family in the first place. And when those men are brought into the hallway, he opens fire. Not in the street, not in the dark, not in chaos, but inside the courthouse. And that details matters because there's becoming a time where people are no longer trusting the system and they believe I have to protect my child at all costs. And that could be either side of this issue. That could be either side of the aisle because unless we as leaders and individuals assure folks that they're being heard and we are going to find a way to bring peace and we don't continue to treat this like this is just something we can push to another meeting because we're still upset about solar. We're still upset about the health department. We have let these issues lag on for so long. The question is, what's going to happen when somebody says, you know what? They're not listening to me anyway. Now I'm going to start putting out addresses when I start doing comments. I'm going to start figuring out people's patterns. Why am I saying that to you? Because I'm not from here. I've lived in Atlanta for 7 years where I've seen it happen. I lived in Miami for 5 years where I've seen it happen. I've lived in Columbus, Ohio where I've seen it happen. And people who come from those spaces and places, they're not really hoping you do anything. They're really hoping you give them a reason so they can do something. And that's why we who are cordial right now in this moment, we must find a way to preserve our community. Whoever wins, whoever loses, that's just today. But what happens when that person is just waiting? They're not going to tell you what they're thinking. They're not going to tell you what they're planning, because now their child's life is on the line. Their livelihood, either way, like she talked about the homosexual child, and you feel like your child is being damaged by a system, or either way on the other side. Do we really think, let's be honest, me as somebody who kind of leans a little more right, do I really think I'm going to wait on the sheriff's department to come if somebody breaks into my house? No, I'm going to my drawer and I'm going to make sure he never does it again. Why? Because of the Second Amendment, and I believe in protecting my own. But if we're not careful as a people, more people are going to get that idea about a lot less, and they won't wait to call the police.
That concludes the cards for citizens I have this evening to be heard. I don't have any more.
I think we sent one down there. Is that, you want to talk about Board of Commissioners? District 5, I gave that to District 5 candidate for.
Janelle?
We can do it now. We can do it. Just
For
yeah.
what topic?
That's fine.
Well, we have a different.
Call this one so she can do that now.
Okay.
It said comment Board of Commissioners. I didn't
Yeah.
know.
So, Janelle Parrott.
Thank you so much for letting me speak. I appreciate it. I'm here today to address our board. Y'all are responsible for allowing this county to backslide, particularly around public health, and be even less attractive to our youth staying and people elsewhere looking at the county. They won't want to come here. Some of what I was going to speak on has already been spoken on, but vaccines were not provided this year to the Council on Aging to provide to our elderly because of Dr. Nevin. An elected commissioner taking time to express an opinion of a visit to the health department as a presentation to the public as though your opinion is fact, the whole thing was inappropriate. First of all, every meeting someone wants to talk about and make transphobic and homophobic comments and remarks, and to hear that from an elected commissioner not in public comment is sick. Complaints about intake forms asking for gender and sexual orientation. Use your critical thinking. You sound like dinosaurs. Do you think that maybe our LGBTQ plus youth are facing higher suicide rates because of closed-minded, bigoted opinions like are expressed here all the time? You assume your kids are straight, but you only make your kids hate themselves and hate you. Second of all, it's ignorant to pretend that there are not 12-year-olds that are sexually active, whether we like it or not. My mom was a health department nurse, and I remember her being so bothered by preteen pregnancy. One in particular was a young lady, young girl, as young as 10 years old. The kids are sexually active, whether we want them to be or not. We need to be providing these resources. Besides that, you knew about that website for months. Why did you not bring it up before? Versus you could have spoken to Liz King or Dr. Nevin or any staff member at any point since November. Why let more kids be exposed to it if that's what you really think? In closing, instead of looking out for the best interest of your constituents, y'all are divisive and gross. It's actually disgusting. This county is more backwoods today thanks to the decisions you have made, particularly around public health, based around politics and personal ideology over science and the well-being of your constituents. And you are all accountable.
So I have no further cards for citizens wishing to be heard tonight, so we'll move on to updates. Item A, Community Adolescent Health Center. I don't know if we put it on the agenda.
This was asked by Mr. Rushing.
I asked to have it put on the agenda at our last meeting.
Okay,
Had a motion, it was second, it was approved.
okay, so who's giving the update?
If Liz King's got one, if not, we can just start discussing it. Liz King has something that she wants to present, please.
Thank you. Commissioners, Administrator Hall, sorry, for allowing me to provide an update tonight. And all the public that's here, thank you for coming and voicing your opinions. They were heard. First and foremost, I need to start by acknowledging Commissioner Angie and you and your daughter's experience at our clinic and say how desperately sorry I am for what you experienced there and how you shared that at the last meeting. It was exceptionally disturbing to me, to the staff, and for that I am sorry to you and to anybody in the community that was affected similarly for those things. I sincerely regret that you and your daughter had a negative experience at our clinic, like I said, and anybody else who has been impacted similarly. Please know that both myself, the entire staff at the health department, are deeply committed to ensuring that our clients receive a safe, age-appropriate, and comfortable experience. As a mother, my kids are older than yours, Commissioner Angie. I even have grandchildren similar in age. I fully understand and empathize with the importance of creating an environment where parents feel confident and supported. We take all complaints, no matter how they come in, exceptionally serious. And that's why immediate steps were taken. As health officer, I am the administrative officer responsible for planning, implementation, and evaluation of all of our public health services, regardless of the structure below me. Evaluation is ultimately my responsibility, and I accept the accountability and the responsibility for that, as well as the errors that have occurred. Those include inconsistencies pointed out between the electronic survey and the paper surveys. The electronic included additional demographic questions that Teen Health Center staff were not aware until there was an investigation started the day after your presentation. Additionally, the Bedsider link embedded in those brochures referenced by Commissioner Angie at the last meeting is a resource that is widely accepted by MDHHS. However, we recognize that it is highly inappropriate for our community and in that setting. Context matters. And as someone who has lived here my entire life, chose to stay here, raise my family here, in this community, I understand the importance of making sure our materials reflect the needs and values of the people we serve, all the people we serve. I assure you, everyone in this room, the board, those listening, that steps were taken immediately so this does not happen again, and long-term impacts are also being discussed at length. So upon becoming aware of this issue identified at the last meeting, within hours, the educational materials with the embedded link to bedsider.org were removed immediately. Staff are identifying appropriate clinical alternatives that are age-appropriate and clinically appropriate for everyone. The use of the RAP survey was paused and has subsequently been discontinued at this moment. We have thoroughly reviewed all the educational resources throughout the health department, our contracts, our website, to ensure that they are appropriate and aligned with the values of the community. Grant requirements and minimum program obligations were reviewed, and MDHHS was notified of the current situation, including questioning their endorsement of the Bedsider website. Applicable laws and county policies were reviewed for violations. Staff corrective actions were taken consistent with county policy and union contracts. The Community Advisory Committee meeting records for the Teen Health Port Huron location were reviewed for the goal of increased broad participation, which must be achieved. A policy has been developed to establish a structured review and approval process for educational and promotional materials. In addition to these community advisory committee, to ensure that we have accuracy, evidence-based practice, compliance with program requirements, and alignment with board direction. Long-term, the challenges, the risks, the benefits to operating a child and adolescent health center as a county entity were discussed at length in the past 2 weeks. Again, building onto the conversations over the last 6 months around the same topic. Additionally, the focus of the current Board of Commissioners and the current appointed Advisory Board of Health were also considered. From that, long-term, a steering committee will work to research potentially transitioning the teen health to an external entity similar to Elginak Child and Adolescent Health Center, if this is the direction the board does want us to move. If that is how you feel, I'm committed to the fact that any transition planning will be focused on maintaining continuity of care, minimizing any disruption to clients, staff, and the district. Dr. Nevin has also agreed to continue providing medical oversight during any transition period if needed. So again, big picture, you had a bad, horrible experience that outlined some significant issues within our clinic. I've described steps here I and the staff have taken. And I guess for you as a parent, and maybe a commissioner, do you feel that these are appropriate? And I have addressed your issue immediately and long-term.
I appreciate you coming tonight. I appreciate you taking
Of
all
course.
this.
Yeah.
I appreciate you taking all those steps that you took, and I appreciate your words. And I'll share with you, that's just it. It wasn't a bad experience. It was actually quite pleasant. The receptionist was wonderful. The individual who performed the sports physical on her was lovely. These people were inviting and kind and knowledgeable. The biggest problem that I had was I was told, we want to ask your daughter some questions. And I said, sure, what are those questions? And I was handed a piece of paper and reviewed the questions, and then the questions they later asked her were not the questions that I was told she was going to be asked. Now, contrary to what some individuals have come to understand in this crowd tonight, that is my issue. I wasn't told the truth. And as a parent, I need to have that kind of control. She's my daughter.
I 100% agree.
I'm not
Agree with
making
you.
any commentary, as I said before, on anyone's lifestyle choices, on any of that. I was misled. I was deceived. I wasn't told the truth. And that's not fair or right. And I think anybody here would be upset about that.
I would be upset about that. I am upset about that. I was livid when I found out that there is a discrepancy because I too, Commissioner Angie, had the paper copy as of December, I think 10th, 11th. I said, I need to see those surveys. There's questions going on. I want to see them. I want to review them. And I was given the paper copy that you received. There is a difference on the electronic version is what we discovered that very next day. And we've been looking into how did that happen? How is there a discrepancy? And you're absolutely right.
Thank you. So my surrounding issues of parental control, parental consent, and parental knowledge. Now, I read somewhere along the line in the last couple of weeks that perhaps the software program had been updated outside of anyone's knowledge or information, or I'm not sure how it happened, that the questions on the sheet of paper that I was given and told these are the questions your daughter will be asked did not match the questions that were on the iPad. So I just want it to be clear. My issue was that I wasn't told the truth as her parent. It has nothing to do with anyone's lifestyle choices. It has nothing to do with any of that. And I'll also take this opportunity to say that no one in here has any clue what I've discussed with my daughter at any time. And it's really not any of your business. That's my decision. I'm her mother, and she's 12.
Again, I acknowledge that there was a difference between the paper copy and that electronic version. You are 100% right. There is a difference, and there is accountability all the way down from me on how did that happen. You know, and went through a lot of backlogging. How did that happen? How does it not happen again from here? So again,
Thank you. I appreciate that. And just to recap, that's just it. My experience there was quite nice. The people there were lovely.
They are. They're great.
My issues revolved around the deception up front, and then the cards, and then the website, which I actually, when I first saw the cards, didn't notice the website until a couple of weeks later. And I stumbled into the website when I was looking back at the cards, and I was shocked to find what's on the website, as I'm sure you are.
correct. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But you also know that there was no malice or intended deceit of a parent. We would never, ever do that. I don't stand for that. No one at the health department does do that. I am sorry that you felt that way, and it appears that way, but no, we know after talking with the staff, there was some lack of knowledge going on there. There was no malicious deception of you at all.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think I read somewhere along the line in the past week or two since the last meeting that it's been discovered that approximately 90 to 100 of these cards have been passed out to minor children coming into the teen clinic. Is that right?
No, that's not 100% true. So since 2016, the cards, there's been 90 of them out of inventory. It could have been between personal health clinic here at the main campus, at teen, and we can't necessarily say where those ended up, if they were to someone 10 or they were to someone 21, but 90 over the past 10 years, yes.
The teen clinic was recently renovated, right? And you had a grand opening sometime in December. The cards were sitting on both counters when I went in for the open house. I mean, someone placed them there, someone knew they were there, someone knew what they were. I just want to point that out. I appreciate you coming tonight to answer our questions. Does anybody else have any questions for Ms. King? Commissioner Rushing?
As normal, I have numerous questions, so, and then possibly some of you might have some, and I might even have follow-up questions. The bedsider, the 501c, who pays for that nonprofit? How did it get into our healthcare?
Do you mean, do we pay for it, being part of it, or buying those cards?
Well, somebody pays bedsider, even though they're a nonprofit. They're getting money, or they wouldn't be there. So who approved bedsider to be at our clinic?
We don't pay for the bedsider. Those cards that came into existence in 2016, I guess I'm not sure that we support bedsider from that. I know it's MDHHS. It is very much promoted.
I got a pretty much thick thing here from the medical department that I can, or the Michigan department, that I can go over with you with, because there's some pretty disgusting things in there that they're putting in our schools. It's the Michigan Department of Education. And the things in this that they are putting in all our public schools, in my opinion, from my viewpoint, I would not. In fact, we all have personal, and my 12-year-old granddaughter, which I brought up before, she's out in Waterford, and she was subjected to this kind of stuff in a public school, and my daughter pulled her out, and she's now in a private school. Because my daughter has the resources to do that, and she wasn't going to have her daughter put through there. But for the bedsider, how did that get, I mean, specifically, how did that get into St. Clair County clinics?
Bedsider and the cards were promoted as a resource to utilize through MDHHS.
Okay. So it's from them, and you've had time to research it. Of course, you won't be able to answer all the questions. And part of why I wanted this brought up in a public format is that this is exactly what we should talk about in a public format. This is very, whatever side you're on, if you're somewhere in the middle or far right, far left, or whatever you want to call it, this is what we should be talking about, because we represent St. Clair County, all 7 of us. And then each and every one of us be held accountable for what we do and up here and choices we make. So I'll say that the Michigan Department of Health put the bedsider there. You have the authority to take it out?
Yeah, absolutely. They're out.
Okay. And.
You know,
I got-
yes. Ultimately, you
I
know
know
it.
you've
Yes,
had
I
some
have that
time to-
authority to remove that. Mhm.
You've had some time to review all this and find out what's happened in the past and what we're going to do in the future. But you are the administrator for the health department. And on your email, you said, did anybody in your staff, were they aware of it? What was happening at the clinic? In regards to this specific issue?
Yes.
They were aware of it.
I think upon questioning our staff, they're aware that those cards are there, of the information on it. They too had not gone to the Bedsider website in many, many, many years. And I think what was discovered is that there has been a lot of changes since 10 years ago, where it
I can get
was
that,
a
but
little more simple,
somebody-
and it has evolved.
You have your employees working at the clinic, right? And they were aware of it, and they're handing out this information. Somebody, I hopefully gave them instructions to do this, and I think that would come from the top, the health officer.
No.
They took it on their own to give this information out? With
That-
no direction from anybody?
Operational review of educational materials and what's in that clinic, that autonomy and that trust is given to clinic supervisors a lot of times, most of the time.
Okay. Because somebody gave them directions to do that. And if they took it on their own to do it, then they should be held accountable also, to whatever extent needed.
Right. And they have.
Do you have, at the clinic, how long has this clinic been in place at the Port Huron?
40 years.
40? Okay, with the bedsiders.
I have our nursing director here, 40 years, yeah.
So with the bedsiders, and this flyer that was handed to us, thank you, I believe you'd be able to get the information of how many students actually go through that clinic. Do you have that?
I do.
Whether it's 2025, 2024?
So
My
last
question
year,
would- Go ahead.
are you asking? I'm sorry.
Yes, I am. Go ahead.
In 2025, there was 655 clients, both through our mental health counseling and then for physical health as well.
Out of the ones that went to
That's unduplicated. Thank you, Amy. She's here. But that's 1,253 total visits.
Okay. So some of them were duplicates.
Yeah, yes,
655 total students in total, so some had duplicated, probably 3 visits or whatever was necessary.
correct.
Out of those, would you know how many ended up at our community mental health facilities? With Deb Johnson. So when you go and put this stuff to a 12-year-old, and I know when I was 12-year-old, my dad was in Vietnam, I was busy fishing and frog gigging. And part of this, and I'm going to ask this question next, but I didn't even know what a condom was when I was 12 years old. But these are questions that were given to a 12-year-old, or at least the information was provided there. And I believe this is from 12 to 19-year-olds. I think 19-year-olds are some of the seniors, but mostly 12 to 18-year-olds. So I'm concerned that giving this information out contributes to mental health. You're putting thoughts in people's heads, in my opinion. Hey, let's keep it down, please. We got a meeting to run. So I'm very concerned that we oversee this, and you're the top. Whatever we're giving to the children, the parents should, every single thing that, in my opinion, same thing with Smile on Wheels, I think we got a workable thing that's working out. I'm going to get with you on that too, but not tonight. I think we can document that if a student goes in there, the parents could be required to see what they're seeing. Because then, I think it's the parents' responsibility. What Dr. Mercantant put, and I got a thought on that, I remember when I was 13 to 15, I had to take care of my 2 little brothers. There were 6 boys, and one of them was born in 68, so I babysat him in 69 to 72 over in Germany. But I used to tell my mom that this is what you should be doing as a mom. And she, very firm German, she's told me that when you become a parent, then you can instruct your kids. Until then, I'll be the mom. And I became a parent, And until you become a parent, you don't know what it is to be a parent. So we're getting advice from people that have never been parents, and I don't think a non-parent should be advising parents. I think that you don't have the, I don't believe that you have the experience in life. Please keep it down. We're running a meeting here. So that's my feeling on that. So on a non-parent directing other parents on how to raise their children, because our 3 children were all different. Everyone had their own specifics. Maybe some 12 years old or very fluid in sex and all that. I don't know. But I think the parents should be involved on anything that was presented to at your clinics, and I think you can very easily do that. Any student, give that exact same information to the parent. You can have them sign off on it. Just a suggestion, whether you do it or not, but potentially. And
If a parent asked, we would give them any information, and I know I've said up here before, we encourage parental involvement to the point necessary that's there. And also, when you're speaking about that, I guess what pops through my head are those adolescent health laws through the state of Michigan.
14 and older, if I'm correct on that, correct?
I'd have to pull them up.
Well, from my understanding, but under 14, but.
For confidential information.
But it could be provided to the parents if the student or the child said, yes, I do want my parents to have that
Oh,
information.
of course
And
it
what
is.
Carrie Angie brought up is that what was given up front and the questions that was given to the 12-year-old, she wasn't privy to. So apparently you fixed that, which is great.
Yeah, immediately, yes.
And there's lots of things here, but Dr. Mercantant, when she made that statement, I don't know if she was ever a parent, so I take exception to that. That's where my thought was on that. Please keep it down. Keep it down, please. If we can't keep it down, we will have action taken. When Dr. Mercantant, and this had to do with COVID, the positions were not separated. What was happened at that time was Dr. Mercantant's actions and what happened with COVID, we put both positions up to be submitted to. She took and you know this, she had the opportunity to reapply for both positions if she chose to. She chose not to apply for either one. She could very well have been, if she would have applied, been given those 2 positions back, but she never applied. That was her choice. She just chose not to. So to say we separated it, keep it down, please. In regards to the superintendents, and I got quite a bit here from the education, but I guess superintendents can provide this information even if it's not part of our health department, from what somebody else said earlier, in regards the Port Huron School Board, I believe. But superintendents have the oversight on these specific issues. I don't know if that's in what's taught in the school.
On the survey, I think there's 2 different things. I think there's the survey at Teen Health, which is a risk-based survey that asks questions about risk, about vaping, about helmets, about things like that. I think it's a little different. There's 2 different, my understanding is there's 2 different surveys. I'm only speaking to the one at Teen Health, and
Okay. When any of the residents come to the county building here, are condoms made available for them?
they can be, yes.
They can be?
Yeah.
Are they available for children?
They are available upon request. I don't know what you mean by children.
12
On
to
age.
18-year-olds.
There's a line there for sure, but they're available. They're available, they can ask.
So if a
It's a
12-year-old
disease prevention. I think we have to think about that, right? Condoms are there. Our job as a health department are to prevent disease. So a lot of times we're thinking of condoms as in birth control. It's disease prevention as well, and that's that's what we do.
Okay, anybody under 14, would you provide condoms to?
Yeah, they request.
Is that a yes or no? I think we shouldn't, but if that's, you're the health officer, you
Right.
get to make.
We do
the
not
decision.
ask people their age. We don't ask them for identification, anything like that. If we thought there was a concern on why they were coming in and they looked of an age where that's a concern, then that's followed up on.
Okay.
Okay? Kids are very important to us at the health department, their well-being.
The grant that was assisting over in Yale, do we have any other grants or programs that are tied into this with the Michigan Health Department that are putting this out for whoever these type of surveys out? Is there any other grants that, and you might have to do some research if you don't have the answer today, but do we have any other grants and programs that are directed by the Lansing Health Department that we're doing for whatever resident? On specific, this is the question, I'm sorry.
The adolescent health centers are required, that's a state minimum program requirement, to do a risk behavior survey.
Okay.
Does it require which one we use? No. And after review of what I did, I would never recommend using that.
So whether it's
Yeah.
bedsider or not, we're going to continue with this type of
Not
format.
bedsider, I was speaking about the survey. Bedsider is the embedded website inside a brochure that was endorsed
So
by
we're going to,
DHHS.
that's halted currently, but you're telling me that the questions that she was concerned about, we're still going to be asking those to all the students?
No, we currently are, we've suspended that survey completely.
Well, back to
There
the-
will be no
back-
survey.
Okay, back to the question, do we have any grants or programs that are using this from state monies for grants that put their specific stipulations into using that money?
Well,
You might need to do a little
yeah,
research.
I think we
you
need
get-
to talk a little more in detail with, I have a couple more questions, because of course, like we've said, money that comes in any form, even if it's not a grant, if it comes into the health department, there are benchmarks, there are requirements that come with it a lot, and so we can review those for
Is that
you.
included on what comes from the county, from our general fund that comes to you?
Sure, right, because we have accreditation indicators. We have pages and pages of indicators to meet, even through, what is it? Core programs, not just extra grants.
Like I
I
said-
guess I'm going back, I'm thinking about Title X, I'm thinking about family planning, but I want to be accurate. I want to give you the right information, so if I could circle back around on that. There is no survey like the RAP survey. There is no risk-based survey, to my knowledge, throughout anything but our adolescent health centers. But I will confirm.
Okay. So I think that I'll have more for you, but I can ask you that. I do like having discussions like this in public, whether you agree with, one side agrees or not, but to have the discussions, we should be having that. Because if you don't have these discussions, our concerns won't be ever addressed, and they'll be put behind closed doors. And what do you mean? That's going on? So wherever you decide on this and what's going on, we just make the public aware, because that's our job. And I think that's it for me.
Any other questions for Liz or Amy?
Just a couple of comments if I could.
Commissioner Smith?
I want to thank Liz for responding on, I think, the 28th, 23rd. I sent an email to both her and Dr. Nevin and asked pointed questions that I wanted answered. You responded in writing. I appreciate that. Just, is there anything you want to add to any of those comments? I'm going to rely on what you provided me in writing to my questions primarily. Just to surmise that, you asked a question about the programming, who knew what was done, what wasn't done, and all those kinds of things. Trying to get to the, to me, the root of a better idea of what's going on at the health department with respect to the clinics and with respect to our main office. I was on the board in '07. I was here when we hired Ned Mercanton at that time. And he was kind of below the radar. We've never seen as much attention since COVID and since these events that have occurred now. So I don't know how long it went back. There's some of these things go way back. I will say that this, the material that Carrie Angie, or Commissioner Angie presented to me was just not in any way appropriate to be, it's not health information to me. That's not public health information. That was sexual information, maybe, the lifestyles, all those types of things. It's things people can talk about and do, but I don't see the connection between that and public health. But I'm working on that because I'm not a public health expert. I will say that one thing I did look at too is like under the school code, MCL 380-1507, if you do sex ed in school, you have to identify the program to the parents, the parents have to acknowledge that, and they can opt out. And to me, what the legislature's doing recently with making sex education now a public health component, it seems like part of this, do you see do you think this part of what's going on is they're trying to bring this sex information into public health more prominently? Did you see that as being true from the state level, that they're trying to bring it in? Or would you say that's not true?
I would say I have to research it more. I have to look at it more. I don't have a yes or no on that. I know it's there. I've heard and read about what's going on through MDE versus us. And I, for the most part, have kept those things separate. Do I see it kind of crossing over a little bit? Perhaps.
Well, I guess my point is, if we have we are the local governing entity under the public health code, the buck stops. Both you and Dr. Nevin took responsibility for your respective roles and acknowledged shortfalls, errors, problems. You did all that. Now you've discovered things and you're looking into things, and we're learning more about what should not be in those clinical settings. So I'm looking at, I guess the question for me to get a sense of where you come from as our health officer is when things come down from, say, the state or from other sources that don't comport with, say, this board's view as the representation of the public, the 7 districts, our values, principles that we try to bring forth with some oversight, will you acknowledge to bring forth and give effect to those things that we put out as the elected representatives of the county as the Board of Commissioners? Because it seems to me the state pushes certain things and then other ideologies get involved. And I just want to make sure that you're on board with, we're going to be able to communicate is not acceptable, and you agree with that, and you're looking into it, and we're going to try to do the best you can to fix it.
Of course I'm on board with that. It is a difficult place to be in right now in public health. I think public health is changing rapidly from the federal level through the state down locally. And we have to lead that, right? We have to lead through any changes. We need to be flexible on maybe not doing things the way they were done before. Maybe there are some changes that need to be implemented. And we're very open to looking at that, looking at it through a different lens. We also need your help. We need your input. We need you to bring things forward to us. That's why the advisory board is there
What do you
as well.
What do you see as the best way? Because like for me, I was an attorney for 40 years. I was a trial attorney for 20 years in the prosecutor's office. And I always told jurors that evidence and truth get you justice. If we look at the evidence and we're truthful about it, and that's what I wrote you about. I put that in my writing. It says, I don't have a real good handle. I don't know everything that's going on. I had no idea this was going on. So we're all alarmed. What else is going on? What's the best way for you to basically bring this board up to speed and the public up to speed on what program requirements? You take the money, you take the metrics, you take the program requirements, you take the benchmarks. How do we find out what those benchmarks metrics are and whether or not we think it's appropriate for our people in our community based on our particular representation?
I think this year, why I'm hopeful about that with all the changes that are going on and how to, I'm a process person. Here, it's a strategic planning year for us at the health department. So I would hope that you as a board would want to be in on that and in on what dollars are you taking? What benchmarks do you have to meet? And we can talk about that as a group. And I know no one wants more meetings and more obligations, but that's a good place to be. Previous to this, strategic planning, we would send out a survey to the Board of Commissioners, to our advisory board. So that's a way to get input, or maybe a steering committee moving forward. I'd love a subcommittee for us on.
It's not so much input to you. What I'm getting is, how do we find out more what is occurring within the department, the nuts and bolts? For instance, I've got the budget for your department, and there's actually it's 50-some pages long, and you've got 24 separate budgets in your department for various programs and things to sort through all that. We can't come to every meeting and do those kinds of things. But I guess that's what I'm trying to look at is where we're at, what's occurring within the department, what corrections need to be made from this board. For instance, we have no policy. There's no St. Clair County policy for the health department. we covered this 2 years ago. I said I wanted some policies. I got looking around, I got back on the board. I was surprised, like for the morgue, we have policies, and other departments, we have policies, but there were no St. Clair County policies. They were all internal policies, and you provided those to me. You know, so what I'm looking at is, do we need policies for you to follow from the board perspective? Maybe we should look at that. How would you feel about that? The board developing policies that would be applied to the health department, consistent with perhaps things that we think need to be done. Would that be helpful or not helpful?
I think any involvement is helpful, right? We don't want to be in this situation again. Any communication with the board is helpful. Anybody can come in, I will sit down about finances, about our budgets. It's very complex, very complex. I'm sure Dina would help as well to explain that. Any questions, I'm always open. My door is always open, my phone, any of that for questions. And if you want to move towards some county policies over the health department, I think just having us as leaders of the health department involved in that.
I guess where I'm at, I'm still trying to figure out why it happened and how it happened. And I'm working on that, and I do appreciate you coming. I won't take any more of your time on that. You answered my questions. I'll rely on the official emails, and we responded back and forth, and you clarified some things, so I do appreciate that. I may have more, but I think we'll be looking at this as we go forward and trying to take some corrective action, obviously, so we're not in the same place. So, thank you.
Any other questions for Liz tonight? Okay, well, thank you for taking swift action and working with us to get all back on the same page so we can move forward in a positive direction together. So,
Absolutely.
thank you for that.
Thanks for your time.
There are no conceptual initiatives on the agenda.
I got one update if I could, separate from that.
Can we do it in, we're on conceptual initiatives. Is that
It's not a conceptual initiative, just an update.
Okay.
It's very short. We have Pastor Trey Smith here, and he contacts me, which he does, and we talk, and he sent me an email, and it had to do with what happened in Minneapolis. It's protecting active worship and the right to assemble, and it's his concerns. And I talked to him about, I don't believe we have the authority as county commissioners putting anything in place, because we couldn't enforce it anyways. We're not the sheriff department, so we could not do something, I don't believe. But I wanted to at least address it for him tonight. And I did explain to him that my youngest son, who is now 46, he's actually the enforcing person at his church. And I wouldn't suggest anybody go in that church with bad ideas, because he is very qualified. But anyways, I wanted to bring it up for Trey Smith. And if we can do anything, possibly can. I did forward the information to Steve Smasko, our chair. And but my opinion is the laws are already in place to take care of this. And that's all.
I'll just acknowledge Dave sent me the email, and I told him that, there's federal and state laws that cover all those things. I would not be in favor of an ordinance, and it would not be appropriate. I'm not sure what he was looking for, but that's what I told him, so.
Any other updates? Moving on to conceptual initiatives. There are none on the agenda, no old business. Moving on to item 7A, the Stat Courier contract renewal.
Make a motion to send to full board.
There's a motion. Can I get support?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item B, the resolution 26-05, the senior millage renewal.
Motion, send to full board.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other human services matters from the commissioners this evening? None? Okay, moving on to information only. Seeing none, I'll take a motion to receive.
Motion to receive and file.
Thank you. Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Support? All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Hey.
She should give him 5 minutes to clear the room.
You're very kind. Thank you, thank you.
Oh, he's just being a grouch, that's all. He's just being a grouch, that's all.
Well, God bless you. God bless you. Thank you.
We're taking a break?
Yeah, is this
I
bathroom
think
break
this might be
time?
that moment.
Yeah.
We having a break?
Yeah,
Yeah, we've lost two.
yeah, it was an end run, yeah, it's an end run, it's like, are you gonna go?
Commissioners, Judiciary Public Safety Committee to, roll call, please.
Commissioner Angie,
Present.
Commissioner Beaton,
Present.
Commissioner Torello,
Present.
Commissioner Samasco,
Present.
Commissioner Zeller,
Present.
Commissioner Rushing,
Here.
Commissioner Vandenbach.
Here. I need a motion for the agenda.
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Support.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Moving on to citizens to be heard. First one is Martha Bailey.
Hello. My name is Martha Bailey, and I live in Shelby Township, Michigan. I'm retired from Utica Community Schools, and I am not here to speak for me or my family, but for the most vulnerable in our society. I don't know if any of you watched that video that the St. Clair County Sheriff's Office did to that dog. It was horrible. I couldn't even watch all of it. Otherwise, I couldn't have slept. As a matter of fact, I have worked with the children for over 20 years. I've fostered over 300 dogs, a lot of cats. So I have worked with, and today I also work 2 days a week with seniors. So I've given back a lot of my time to help with other people. But, and I'm aware that the board can't do much to, about the atrocities of the St. Clair County Sheriff's Department. And I did find, and through the time, there needs to be some kind of training for these people. They're out here going rogue, dragging dogs, using catch poles to choke them till they pass out, and then drag them out and shoot them. I mean, and this is not the only time this has happened. I did a little research on it, and there was another dog named Rocco that they abused too. So in the meantime, they don't know what they're doing. And they don't care either, so that's the worst part, is when, because of some of the jobs I have done, if I don't care, I can really make a mess of it. I could have made a big mess of the special needs children that I worked with, or what, because you have to care. That's the biggest part of the job I found for me, was caring. And and Matt King, he's the worst. He's protected these losers. And they even refused me to allow me to submit a complaint. And I know there are laws in Michigan, there's federal laws. They don't seem to apply to these people. And there's no accountability for them. So in the meantime, I'm just saying there's no excuse for abuse. And I think we need to make that very clear, even though I'm aware that the board does not have a lot of say-so over there. They're pretty much, I believe, if I'm correct, they pretty much deal with the purse strings. Well, I know what I would do, but I can't tell the board what to do. Anyway, thanks for your time.
Carol Miller.
Good evening, everybody. My reason for coming forward tonight is to express appreciation and to share positive progress regarding animal control, something you haven't heard in a very long time and is overdue. As we did years ago, I will once again be providing updates to the county, which will be to Mr. Hull and to my Commissioner, Joy Torello, on the progress of reestablishing a strong, compassionate volunteer presence at animal control. With their support and collaboration, our volunteer group is once again becoming active after having previously been removed by a previous board. We are committed to building something the entire county can be proud of. That means meaningful community involvement, improved care for the animals, and a transparent, welcoming environment that reflects the values of St. Clair County and its residents. We respectfully ask the board's continued support as we work alongside county leadership and animal control to make this a place that truly serves the public. We also warmly welcome county residents to join us at our volunteer informational meetings, which we're going to have 2 on Monday, February 23rd at the St. Clair County Library. One will be from 5:30 to 6:30, and the next one following from 6:30 to 7:30. We also have a Facebook page for the volunteers that they can join. It's important to note that our group is not affiliated, nor will ever be affiliated with any political organizations as in the past or negative agendas. We are simply the St. Clair County residents who are deeply caring about the welfare of animals and will remain positive. Our sole purpose is to assist animal control in caring for the lost or abandoned animals until they are reunited with their families or find their forever homes. Mr. Hull and Commissioner Torello have been already proven to be valuable assets to the animal welfare community. Their openness to collaborate has helped restore trust and momentum, allowing volunteers to focus on what matters most: the education, community support, and compassionate care for the animals. It will be a process once again to begin, but we're looking forward to getting through the process and making things happen as soon as we can. Our volunteers look forward to working with animal control, the county, and leadership in this board to help ensure the shelter is a place that prospers and make the citizens of St. Clair County very proud. Thank you so much for helping us, and if you have any questions, please let me know.
Libby Pearl.
Okay, I apologize for taking up a second spot. I have never done that before. I'm not going to make a statement. I just want to ask a question, and it really is directed at legal counsel. You know, I'm a retired school employee, and one of the, well, now I'm making a statement. So let me think of how to say this. There are Michigan statutes that prohibit the distribution of certain information or say like birth control condoms, maybe, you know, birth control, et cetera, on school grounds. So my question is, I'm not sure, how does that affect clinics that are actually located on school property? I don't know what the answer is on that. And so at some point, maybe, if you could, you know, let us know if that's actually legal to do, how, are we blurring lines?
I can check, but
Thank you.
I don't have it in my.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to new business. Oh, anybody have any updates? Hearing none, moving on to, we have no conceptual initiative, no old business. New business, contract approval from Reed City District Court roof replacement.
Motion to send full board.
Second.
Any questions on it? Hearing,
I just want to make a statement about it. I think it's fantastic that the roof is being replaced at the Marine City District Court. And I know the people who live downriver really appreciate having that court there, and replacing the roof will ensure that we are providing ultimate superior service to our down city residents. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you, Tom.
anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Moving on to fiscal year 2026 Marine Safety Grant Program application.
I'll make a motion to send that to full board.
Support.
Any questions on it? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Public Defender Personal Liability Insurance Renewal Quote and Application.
Move to send to full board.
Support.
Motion support. Any questions on it? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Everbridge for County of St. Clair 2026 renewal.
Make a motion to send that to full board.
Support.
That was a struggle. Any questions on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Enhanced voting subscription renewal 2026 to 2029.
Motion to send that to full board.
Support.
Any questions? Because the clerk is here if anybody has any questions.
Well, I just want to say thank you, because I'm the one that made the motion to take it off, so that I could read through the contract a little bit more to have a better understanding, just because there's been a lot of questions about our elections. And I appreciate that. And Angie's been really great communicating back and forth with me and some other people. And I know corporate counsel had looked over it, made some changes to the contract, which I'm thankful for. Thank you, Gary, for that. And I don't know if you want to say anything about the elections or not, or, because I know that a lot of people, if you haven't worked the process of elections, which I haven't, I tried to learn, but I didn't, it might be nice for them to have a better understanding, like really what you guys do that evening.
Yeah, I'll just go over briefly. So the contract up for renewal is through enhanced voting. It's called election results that we use. So the county has been using election night reporting software since 2019 under former county clerk Jay DeBoyer. So the system we use is enhanced results. It only provides the public election results in real time. Enhanced results does not tabulate votes or have any ability to change vote totals. So our current process right now is the local clerks get their books to balance. At the end of the election night, they will bring us in 2 envelopes, one for the county clerk's office, one for the probate judge. Along with that, they bring in their memory cards that are pulled out of the tabulator. They are brought in a secure bag. We take those memory cards and we upload the information onto our election management software that is not connected to the internet. So the results go on the election management software. And then we take a thumb drive, and then we take the thumb drive and put it into a computer that is connected to the internet to post the results real time coming in for the public. It doesn't change any results. Like I said, it doesn't tabulate any results. It's just basically so the public can watch the numbers coming in. If we don't have any type of election reporting software, then with the way the night goes and how busy it is, I wouldn't be able to post any results till possibly 4 or 5 the next morning. I mean, we have like 20-hour work days on election day. So trying to tabulate, you know, to have something out, we wouldn't be able to put anything out till 4 or 5 the next morning if that's, I mean, that's when I've walked out before. So, so that's basically the process. In addition to, you know, the public in real time, it also shows the number of precincts reported, voter turnout, ballots cast, number of registered voters, shows you the ability to view status for each precinct. You can download report option, and there's also a media export. So it does so much more just to give that information to the public so they're, you know, they can sit and watch the numbers coming in and how many precincts are reported. So I think it'd be a disservice to the citizens if we were to not have that service for them. Is there any questions?
Thank you, that was very thorough.
Yes.
You know, the question, but I just want to make a statement. I did look into this as well. Because of the enhanced scrutiny by the public with this election integrity, you were very helpful, Angie, with my questions. I went down and talked to Kara, our election clerk. I talked to the deputy clerk. I talked to Angie. The information that comes out of, correct me if I'm wrong, these information you get from the municipalities and township clerks come from 2 tabulators, one for the general election and one for absentee voting, mail-in voting, correct?
Yeah, well, there's early voting.
Yeah, they bring those
there could
in.
be, if it's early voting because it's a state and federal election, then you'd have an early voting, an absentee voting, if they have an absentee voting board.
And all that is,
election.
and all that is just the raw vote number by,
Yes.
by office and perhaps ballot proposal and so forth. It's just a number is all it is. It's very limited.
Absolutely.
It's not addresses, it's not qualified voter rolls, it's not any of that. It's just the raw data. And then, once you get that into your into your voting software program that's not, it's a computer, I looked at it, sits on a desk by itself, not hooked in the internet, not hooked on a network, you then create a master drive. And
Yep, a
with
thumb
all,
drive.
and you update it through the night, you just keep
Yep,
loading
as the
it up.
results come in, we'll put it on the thumb drive so the public's seeing
And then
what's
you,
been reported.
upload that to this enhanced voting, and then they make that available through a link, a URL. That's how
Yes.
people can get their information fast.
Absolutely.
right?
And it says right on there, unofficial results. And I want to clarify that the canvas board, which there is one canvas board member still here, they take the statement of votes cast, which we pull out of the EMS computer, the election management software computer, and they compare it to totals tape out of the tabulator along with the poll book to make sure all those numbers match. They don't ever, I mean, the election results program is just for the public convenience to kind of see how
And
the
it's
races.
always said that it's an unofficial vote. And then once you do that, then, the other piece of it for me was, because I've been around a long time, we used to go down to the clerk's office and hang out at an election night when I was a prosecutor and see the votes come in. They'd hear it on the radio, you had to wait till the morning to get it. And people, that would be a disservice not to have that. But my question I had, and I talked to Tiffany Fournier, our RT director, about perhaps developing, it seems like a very simple process to develop our own website link on our own website and just do that input ourselves. And you said you would look at that, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah, I did speak with Tiffany, and I told her to come down when she had a chance.
And that's not
I
so-
would be concerned about security, you know what I mean, because there is securities in place through, like, enhanced voting and stuff. But
And that's
yes, it's
certainly not
we
something
could
that
look
can
at.
be done by May or November, so, I'm going to support the contract to get that in, and there is an out for us in the contract. Now, that was taken care of because of some of the issues raised, so that's a good thing. And then, with all of that, the only other thing I talked to the election staff about was this issue of the state audit. The state also requires you, under current election law, the Secretary of State is in charge of auditing elections, and they give you a format to go by precinct, by ballot proposal, by whatever, and you audit certain things you do. And I did inquire of Angie if we could do a secondary, like a verification, and do some of our own random checking, and you said you might look into that as well, which I
Yeah, I haven't
appreciate.
reached out to Gary yet, but
Yeah,
yes,
we'll
I was
talk to
gonna send him an
Mr.
email
Fletcher
and
about
see if
that.
he could. see
And
what-
my idea would be to give people let them know that we're looking at it seriously, and that we're not only going to do what the state says on our audit, but perhaps we can verify some of those numbers ourselves for our own internal random audit. That would make me feel better about it. And the information on this enhanced voting contract is just basically some raw numbers. There's nothing really to worry about there,
Correct.
so I will support that. So,
And
thank
there
you.
is, election trainings that we have to do. We offer hands-on training. I mean, we have a whole list for this year. If anybody's interested in attending any of those, please
what
get a
I'm-
hold of our office.
The only snag I ran into is this issue of chain of custody. So if you have election results that are under seal, if we try to do a verification on our own, you have to break the seal and reseal it. I'd have Gary look at that. I'm not
Right,
sure.
that's why I was gonna.
That's
yep.
the only issue I really saw, but it's just like, if it's like an evidence bag, and when court, if you're doing a criminal case, you can seal it and reseal it and sign on it. I mean, so.
Right, right.
And if that was the case, we could do a random audit of just a few, to see if those numbers all match, and do it in our own verification rather than an audit, and kind of run alongside of what the state's doing, and then I think that would add some public trust, so.
In that audit, though, the state does, we do count, county clerks can no longer do the audits. But in the past, I've done audits before they took that right away from the county clerks. But
We
you
won't-
do count physical ballots to make sure that it matches the tabulator tape, the poll book.
We won't call it an audit, we'll call it a verification,
Okay.
so we can't.
Well, I will talk to
Because only
Mr.
the
Fletcher
Secretary of
about
State
that.
only the Secretary of State can audit it. We'll do something a little different, so, thank you.
Any other questions?
Oh, thanks, Angie.
Thank you.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 26-04, St. Clair County Ambulance Service Millage.
Make a motion to send to full board?
Second.
Any questions on that? Because we do have representatives from our different ambulance services here.
No question.
And they love public speaking, at least one of them. He talks too much as it is, so let's keep going. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Any other judiciary matters or public safety matters? Hearing none. Information only?
I'll make a motion to receive and file, information only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Receive and file packets.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, I'd like to call the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners Environmental Public Works Committee meeting to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Angie?
Present.
Commissioner Beaton?
Present.
Commissioner Torello?
Commissioner Samasco,
Present.
Commissioner Zeller,
Present.
Commissioner Rushing,
Still here.
Commissioner Vanden Bosch.
Here.
Any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda?
Make motion.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I have no citizens wishing to be heard. Is there any updates from commissioners? Seeing none. Okay, item 5, conceptual initiatives, landfill supplemental environmental plan development. Do we want to discuss that more?
Yeah. Yeah, just a quick update for the board. I was able to schedule a meeting. So our initial meetings will be held with Commissioner Zeller, Commissioner Torello, Matt Williams from the landfill, Rob Usikowski from Kimball Township. And that's scheduled for next Thursday, February 12th. So we're just going to meet. We're going to kind of conceptualize this a little bit more, talk about some of the available options, some of the comparables that Eagle has permitted in the past, so we can kind of get this moving. Obviously, once we have the additional update, we should have a little bit more for content to be reviewed and commented on by the board.
Awesome. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Moving on to new business. Item A, landfill operating hour revision. Make a
Motion send to full board.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, landfill residential tip fee adjustment.
Make a motion to send that to full board.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Landfill leachate pretreatment operations contract renewal with Michigan Wastewater LLC.
Make a motion to send that to full board.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D, landfill supplemental flare rental renewal with Perennial Energy.
Make a motion to send that to full board.
Support.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I have no landfill activity report. Are there any other environmental, public work matters this evening? None. Information only.
Make a motion to receive and file information only.
Support.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Receive and file packets.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Call to order the Community and Economic Development Subcommittee. Roll call.
Commissioner Angie,
Present.
Commissioner Beeden,
Present.
Commissioner Torello,
Present.
Commissioner Samasco,
Present.
Commissioner Zeller,
Present.
Commissioner Rushing,
Here to the fourth power.
Commissioner Vanden Bosch.
Here.
Item 2, are there any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda?
Make motion.
Support.
All right, there are no citizens to be heard and no other items on the agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. We have motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. And so there are no citizens to be heard, no other items on the agenda, and so I would make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Support? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Calling to order the Ways and Means Committee. Thank you, Mr. Watkins. Can I get a roll call?
Commissioner Angie,
Present.
Commissioner Beeden,
Present.
Commissioner Torello,
Present.
Commissioner Samasco,
Present.
Commissioner Rushing,
Here.
Commissioner Zeller,
Present.
Commissioner Vanden Bosch.
Here.
Number 2, any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda?
Make motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Support.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 3, citizens to be heard. Mr. Kevin Watkins.
Thank you for acknowledging me. I see what I said up there was commissioners be on notice. And please do, we're watching you. I'm very concerned about micromanagement. All departments, especially the health department, exactly what you're doing. A blind man or woman, a dog can see what you're doing with the health department. That scrutiny and interrogation on a health officer showed that, the setup. I've experienced that when I was on the health advisory board, the setup. We know what you want to do. You want to separate, you want to bring the positions back together. That's just a phase now. You see us all here. We're ready for you today. We're going to be ready for you the next meeting, the next after that, and one after that. Is that when you try to slip that in there, we're going to bring some good trouble. We try to slip that in there to bring those positions back together. You separate them for a reason. We understood that. Now you still haven't explained why you want to bring them back together. We know exactly what Commissioner Rushing's up to, what Commissioner Shamasco's up to, what Commissioner Torello's up to. We know. I'm going to spend this time to thank Commissioner Vandenbosch and Commissioner Beaton for them standing for the right thing consistently. But we know what we have here, 5-2 board. What we have hoped for was Commissioner Carrie Angie and Commissioner Zeller to have some reason. You're the swing votes. What's concerning to me, you're swinging the wrong way. You're swinging with those three that want to dismantle the health department and give Dr. Devin the baton to control that. We're watching you because you didn't all of a sudden want to interrogate Liz and say, okay, well, you're doing okay, we're gonna just watch. You've been giving marching orders for Dr. Nevin to bring that position together so he can have total power. And we're not gonna take that lightly. We're gonna push back on that very vividly. At any meeting, you try to bring that up to bring those positions back together. And in regards to the information, guys, we're fighting the same battle we did in 2000 when I was in the Board of Education in Memphis Community Schools. We want our kids to believe that through that window a stork is coming to bring the baby. We know how babies are made. Our kids need to know. If you don't educate them, they get the education from the streets. That's in my neck of the woods, that's what we call it. We let the streets educate them. The schools educate them. You do have parental consent, but to think kids are not going to ask questions and need those things done is ridiculous. You're making a huge mistake. So you're going, and the Commissioner Rushing is back in the 1800s. It is ridiculous. But just last seconds, we're not gonna let you
wrap it
bring
up,
the
Kevin.
positions back together without a strong pushback.
All right, wrap it up, Kevin.
Mr. Rushing.
Yeah?
We will be back, ready for you.
Thank you, Mr. Watkins. Any other citizens to be heard? Hearing none, moving on to number 4, updates. Does anyone have any Ways and Means updates? Hearing none. Number 5, conceptual initiatives. Seeing none. Sorry. Number 6, old business. None. Number 7, new business. A, contract amendment, cutting edge lawn and snow, addendum C, final action.
I'll make a motion for final action.
Support?
Discussion? Do we need a voice vote?
Roll call.
Roll call, sorry.
Commissioner Beaton?
Yes.
Commissioner Torello?
Yes.
Commissioner Samasco?
Yes.
Commissioner Zeller?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes.
Commissioner Vandenbosch?
Yes.
Commissioner Angie?
Yes. Motion carries. B, contract renewal, Enerco Corporation Water Treatment.
Make a motion to send that to full board.
Support.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. C, contract renewal, City Elevator of Michigan.
Make motion to send to full board.
Support?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. D, other post-employment benefits plan, custodial account with Fifth Third Bank.
Motion to send to full board.
Support.
Discussion?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh.
Oh.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. E, Fifth Third Bank Custodial Services Agreement for OPEB Healthcare Trust.
Motion to send to full board.
Support.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. F, Health Department Manning Table Change.
Motion to send that to full board.
Support.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. G, Maintenance Department Building Performance Service Agreement, Honeywell.
Motion to send to full board.
Support.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any other Ways and Means Matters? Hearing none, there's no information only. Motion to receive and file package?
So moved.
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 11, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Adjourned.